Cricket et al. It's a website. It's a podcast.
Pete, it's a way of life. All right, it's Gideon Haigh over here.
And it's Peter Lawler over here.
And welcome to Cricket et al., your independent cricket podcast. Following the thrills and spills of another white ball series between Australia and South Africa. Pete, were you transported last night? You actually managed to write something about it, which is pretty good.
Yeah, pretty remarkable, really, that I was actually moved to write something about a one-day, because I don't really like writing about games that I'm watching on the television. I feel like that's cheating a bit, kids.
It is a bit, isn't it? Yeah, but you got it over the line by talking about ODIs of the past. One of the very few that we actually remember.
And I got it over the line by talking about an ODI of the past, which I wasn't at either.
Yeah. But other people were. That was the important thing.
Yeah, and I've always wanted a chance to let people know about Andrew Ramsey's book, The Wrong Line. I think we've mentioned it occasionally, but I must reread it one time. But I remember when reading it thinking this is the best tour book by a cricket journo I've read. I don't know. You've probably read quite a few of them, Gideon, but he does a fantastic take on Australian cricket journalism, Andrew, if somewhat dark.
It's a little jaundiced, but then again, most of us are. I think that's why it appeals to us so much.
Yeah. That's that's the worst side of us, isn't it? Just whinging all the time about everything in a company.
So what did you take in from last night, Pete?
I took in a few things from last night, Gideon. I mean, it was a junk game, and it was just batting practice for the Australians. Yeah. But they made the most of it. I mean, 300s at the top of the order, Head 142, Marsh 100, Green 118. Look, we know about Head and Marsh. We know they're great. We know that they've got that in them, and that if they come off, Australia are going to be a very formidable white ball team. I was particularly interested in Green. So Green comes in at the fall of the first wicket. I don't even know when that was. Oh, I've got it on.
One for 262, wasn't it? He he'd had 2 balls noticed that he was going in.
Had he really? So you paid more attention than me. So I was too busy typing.
Labuschagne had sat there with the pads on, licking his lips, presumably, thinking, it's all set up for me perfectly. I failed in the first 2. But this is junk time. This is a flat pitch. This is a attack. No Rabada, no Ngidi, no Berger. We and Mulder opening the bowling. I can make hay. Yeah. And all of a sudden, so Green jumps the queue, and wow, that was the best of him, isn't it? You know, when he's got he's a confusing cricketer in the sense that he can look strangely timid and diffident, yet placed in a position like that where he's got everything to gain and nothing to lose, he's got that magnificent 360-degree swing, those huge long levers, and he hits the ball a country mile, and really it was perfectly set up for him, and he took advantage.
Yeah, he took advantage, and I think that was the point that I wanted to make, because you say you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. Absolutely, because, just give it a crack, mate. But it's hard to do, and it's actually hard to start with that sort of momentum. And I think as one of the commentators noted, we've always seen him as a bit of a slow starter, a little bit stiff. But he came in there, and that was great hitting. That was terrifying stuff, some of that. I think he hit 10 sixes in the innings, didn't he? And he hits the ball so far, Gideon. Up to this point, up until recently, we've considered Green as a bit of a red ball specialist, hasn't he? He's sort of
remember they opened him in T20s a couple of years ago, thinking that might kind of get his aggressive instincts going, and he put together he made a good start, and then he put together a few cheap dismissals, as you can do in T20, and then he got injured. So this is his kind of second go at recalibrating himself for white ball cricket, and his game looks just in a better place, I think. He's probably a little bit surer of his position in first choice calculations, and he had a pretty good tour of the West Indies. It looked like he was working it out batting at number 3. And here, he just kicked out the jams, and it was great to watch.
He got a very even temperament. There's no sort of great celebration. There's no rushes of blood that appear to come with hitting sixes and things like that. But no, even noticed Head's 100 was just a business as usual. But I mean, look, we have to acknowledge that perhaps South Africa weren't all there.
No,
in this game,
No.
it was batting practice for the Australian top order, and that is that only the second time in ODIs that the top 3 have got 100. So even if it is batting practice, you've got to make the most of it when you get your chance. Poor Marnus, hey. He's like the guy.
Yeah, poor old Marnus. Yeah, he'd almost forgotten he was playing.
He'd lost the door code to the orgy, couldn't get in.
But then he took 2 magnificent catches. I mean, that's the best of Labuschagne. I'm always talking about Labuschagne as a fielder. I reckon he's it adds a cubit to his span. And that catch diving forward was just miraculous. And then the Australian rules style leap to take that second catch, he made that look easy. And that requires enormous core strength to get up there and hold your position and wrap your hands around the catch. So, he made a very, very difficult chance look comparatively straightforward. So he's had something to take away from these ODIs, having failed in the first 2. The other person who's got something to take away is Cooper Connolly, Pete.
He
managed to pick up a lazy fifer.
We were going to. I was going to before the catching was interesting too because Green snagged a very nice one as well.
Took a nice one,
nice catches in that. I think one was in the slips, wasn't it? One was in the outfield. But
and he took one down the ground.
Cooper Connolly, 5 for 22, the best bowling by an Australian spinner in an ODI. And God knows
bowling by the man with the worst haircut. That's a shocking haircut, isn't it? Honestly. Or does he think he's channeling Iggy Pop?
I think
something. It's just,
I'd be disappointed if a young person didn't come into. I like it when young people come into sport with offensive haircuts. Like where the mullet sort of became that real thing in Australian rules football, and people went to town on it. But
the centre parted mullet that's out Mark Waring Mark Waugh.
Well, there's those 2 brothers, those Warner brothers that play for the Swans, and their mother's a hairdresser in Perth. Just quietly wonder if maybe Cooper goes to the same hairdressing salon because she's creative. But 5 for 22, the best by an Australian spinner since Gideon Haigh.
Brad Hogg?
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I think we're best by left armour.
Hey?
The best by left armour. I think he was here, and of course he was bowling out the back of the hand, Brad. But Cooper, we'd almost forgotten he was around, and he's come in at the last minute, and he did bowl well. I thought they weren't. The first one was Dazorzi just smacked a long hop down Cow Corner's throat, but the rest of them weren't bad at all, and there's a bit about him to like actually. It's at second blush he made a mess of his test debut, but this is the most significant impact he's had on an international so far. And his teammates looked extremely pleased for him, didn't they? There's something about youthful success that puts everyone in a good mood. Maybe they like the haircut too. There's some interesting haircuts in the Australian team at the moment. Or some interesting. I was looking at Nathan Ellis and I couldn't work out what he reminded me of. Do you reckon he looks a bit like Paul Cook from the Sex Pistols?
Hadn't really.
Travis Head's got Travis Head looks more and more like Lemmy every day. He even gave
a very
sign of the horns when he got the 100 yesterday.
If Lemmy had let himself go, mate.
Zamps is starting to look like Thomas Dolby, I think, with the glasses.
I think they'd essentially I reckon they brought Cooper in for his batting, not his bowling. And I was a bit disappointed that Kuhnemann didn't get to roll the arm, frankly.
I think Kuhnemann was probably a bit disappointed he didn't get a go as well.
I think he's been following them around the whole series, hasn't he? He does a lot of following that team around, him and Sean Abbott. So it's good to see Sean Abbott get a go. But well done, South Africa. Go home with a trophy. Do you get a trophy or something?
They do, yeah. Yep.
Congratulations.
So yeah, there's been a little something for everyone in that top end tournament, and I think also playing cricket up the top of Australia in out of season it works. The venues have been well attended, the games have been competitive, even though some of the key players have been missing. I think both teams have taken the opportunity to rest players. Disappointing not to see Miller here, I thought, for South Africa, but he's busy playing in the 100. It's kind of hard to get players sort of all that stimulated by playing bilateral white ball cricket these days. They tend to concentrate their energies on World Cups. But these games were probably as good as you could have hoped for.
It'd be good if they could make those top end series a thing, I reckon, because you make it destination cricket too. I mean, I'd like to go up. I'd love to go and watch a game in Mackay. I look at those grounds and think, I wonder what it'd be like to be there watching the cricket.
Yeah.
Particularly Darwin. I'm very keen to go to Darwin one day and watch the cricket. Caught up with Pat Cummins late last week. Gideon.
Tell me more.
He invited me out for a drink along with 100 of his closest personal friends.
Was this in response to your piece on Cricket et al. About the vanishing of Pat Cummins? He wanted to prove that he still existed.
Here I am, he said, and he popped up at the Mountain Culture Brewery in Redfern, just outside of Redfern Station, which, of course, he is a shareholder in.
Right,
a little soiree of Pat and all his sort of various associates in business life and, climate change and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
It was nice to see him.
Yeah.
He's gone to Canberra today.
Okay.
He's gone to Canberra to meet the Prime Minister and to meet the Minister, Bowen, to see if he can get them interested in investing in a sort of investing in sports clubs around Australia, not just cricket clubs, in sort of working to alleviate these issues that we seem to have, particularly in Sydney, around too much rain, and also to get solar panels on the roof.
Right. Yep.
Anyway, there was an article in The Australian about it today, Gideon, and it took me back. It took me way back. I got a Cummins $100 million sit down with Elbow for climate change battle.
Right.
Is the biggest story on the Australian website today, and their readers are loving it.
Of course they are. That's absolute catnip for them, isn't it?
It is such a blast from the past. It's been so long since I've gone into the comment section, and I've got it in front of me. There are 231 comments on this story, Gideon.
I imagine it's a chorus of approbation, Peter.
I've gone through the first 100 and fucked if I can find one single positive comment. But Ben Horn said he got to the 150th, and he sent me a screenshot of someone saying good on him. What is it? Is there anything you can't ask for in the name of climate change? 2 dills in the same room won't produce much. I'd be impressed if these climate change alarmists took action with their own money. Pat is the reason I don't listen to cricket or watch it anymore. Blah, blah. Stick to cricket. Your credibility doesn't extend to activist malarkey. Gee, I reckon I've seen that one on a few stories I've written.
It's amazing the way you do the voice. It's
about
uncanny.
the homeless? Sport and politics don't mix. You don't have to every 10th comment.
Yeah.
God, it really. I recommend you go in there today just to cheer yourself up. I know how much you enjoyed the comments.
I haven't got to log in anymore. I just can't go there. Life's too short.
Actually, the night before, because at Pat's I ran into Anthony Sachs, who's been very active in Marrickville cricket and other things. He's now a maths teacher at a school. He used to work. I think he actually used to work for John Faulkner, who's another cricket sort of politician.
Indeed.
But we had
John Faulkner belies the idea that sport and politics can't mix, because he had his own cricket team, the True Believers.
But the night before, through sort of independent efforts, we'd managed to get the Marrickville Council to commemorate Bob. And they're going to put a plaque on 517 Illawarra Road.
Well, you've buried the lead. That's a great initiative.
I think
Congratulations, Pete. Well done.
Is that the second plaque that, what do we call? Cricket et al?
We are, yeah. We're just a plaque machine.
I've always loved those plaques when you go around London.
Plaque.
I love
Yeah,
a plaque too.
Yep, a blue plaque on a building is an invitation to have a look and to contemplate antiquity. So that's a great idea, Pete. Well done.
Yeah, I can see my children or grandchildren wandering down Faraday Street, Carlton, one day and pausing. Oh, look, Gideon Haigh used to live here.
Yeah,
he was a
used
mate
to.
of Grandpa's, wasn't he?
Used to, yeah.
I think he wrote some books.
More of that anon. Should we take a break, Pete, and come back with a bit more on cricket et al? Because we've got a couple of specials coming up in that vintage cricket et al vein. Back.
Remind me to mention Major League Cricket when we come back.
Okay,
we've got some notes.
Pete, it's amazing that I still have to ask this, but given how much we've already devoted to this subject, but I have to ask the question: what is SAILI?
Well, I'm glad you asked the question, Gideon, because I don't think we can reiterate this.
It never gets old, does it?
Too often. I don't think we can underline this enough. I think it's probably it's like reading your favourite psalm. It never grows tired. It's always a little uplifting to learn that. SAILI is a new eSIM service app brought to you by Nord Security.
Our friends at Nord Security. And you can choose from several affordable eSIM plans in over 150 countries. That's a lot of countries to take your eSIM, isn't it? The world is your oyster with a SAILI eSIM. You'll always have a connection when you need it.
If you've ever been lost abroad, and Gideon, God knows you and I have been lost abroad.
We have.
I suspect we've been lost in Carlton occasionally, or badly needed an internet connection with no Wi-Fi in sight, you'll understand what a difference a local SIM card can make. And I found that even when I was trying to do this podcast out in the sort of wilds of the Caribbean. Sometimes there was no Wi-Fi. Thank God we had SAILI, Gideon, or you'd have been peddling alone.
Yes. Look, I've been there, Pete. You know, I recently got lost in North London when I was staying at Athers Place. Did I tell you about that?
Yes, you did.
I did, yeah. I had to go and ask at the kebab shop because I didn't have SAILI. Good heavens.
Yeah, and so if you haven't got and there's not always a kebab shop handy when you're lost. So with SAILI, kids, you only need to download it once. So I don't know why you didn't have it on your phone already. You download it, you land in that country, you walk past those questionable people selling you SIM plans in the airport and offering you rides in their dodgy Toyotas.
Well, the reason I had to go into the kebab shop...
You hit download SAILI.
Yeah, my phone had gone flat, so SAILI actually wouldn't have been a help in those circumstances.
Yeah.
But next time...
Yeah.
I promise it will help me. I know it will help me save time. I know it'll help me avoid scams. I know it will minimise roaming fees. And you're always connected with an eSIM. And it's compatible with all iOS or Android devices. I don't know what that means, but it must be really good.
Yeah, all sorts of phones, I think that means. And there is 24/7 support. And as we've said in the past, we've used the 24/7 support and it's fantastic.
So look, anyone can get a SAILI eSIM plan on the SAILI website or through its apps. If Pete and I can do it, then you can too, to be honest.
It is very easy. You download it, you switch it on when you're at the country that you need to arrive in. Don't switch it on before you get there. And you're away.
Trap for the unwary there. And the other thing is, if you go to saili.com/cricket et al and use the code cricket et al, you'll get an exclusive 15% off your first purchase. 15%! Better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick, Pete.
Yeah, that's right. And think of all the money you'll save.
We're back on Cricket et al. Pete, Major League Cricket. A fascinating imbroglio at the moment, is it not?
It is pretty interesting, isn't it? Would American cricket be the worst administration, like historic? Like they have just go from one disaster to another, don't they? American cricket, what's it called? USA Cricket. Just finds a new way to shit in the bed every time somebody starts to make it, I reckon. So they've had the ICC go over there and say, fuck's sake, can you blokes work it out? You've got the chance to host the Olympics. All you've got to do is get your shit sorted. Otherwise, we're not going to have the Olympics. And to get your shit sorted, I sack your board. We've now had them turn around and they've sacked the group that run the MLC. So USA Cricket has turned around to its most successful product and told the people running it that they can bugger off because they've failed to meet the obligations of their contract.
It is, by the same token, a terrible deal, which should never really have been signed. Is it? Do you know the details of it? Yeah, it's a shocker. They made a huge mistake the first time round, but it was
mate, they're techies, aren't they? These tech vultures, they're always going to be a little bit greedy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
That's the thing with Major League Cricket, isn't it? As my mate over there says, it's a bit more of a tech startup than a sporting event.
It is a bit, yeah. And, some people have been fascinatingly conflicted, playing both sides of this deal from the very beginning. So... It's going to be a very difficult omelette to unscramble, this one, and could potentially end up in litigation going on for years. But the deal should probably never have been done on its original terms.
But you made your bed. I'm sorry. Get in it. But, anyway, I guess we'll watch that with half an eye. But I had wanted to retire to New York and cover cover cricket. Fat chance I'll be covering Test match cricket in New York as they play it on Broadway. Are you keeping up with the 100, Gideon?
Next question. Moving right along.
Well, I am, because something's interesting me in the 100.
Okay, go on.
It is that the bottom three teams are all coached by Australians.
I see. Go on. Who are they?
Simon Katich's Manchester Originals are last.
They got a shocking list.
Hussey's Welsh Fire are second last.
Right.
And Langer's London Spirit are third last.
Okay. Right.
So I don't know.
So not only three Australians, but three Western Australians with a fair bit of common heritage. And what's the bet? They get together and they scratch each other's sores.
Simon says they're all aging at a rapid rate.
Well, as it happens, Pete, you drew my attention to the fact that it was last week Simon Katich's 50th birthday.
It was, wasn't it? It was. That sounds like a segue, Gideon. You segue.
It does. So you and I have been sort of batting this back and forth. I've been a bit more interested in Cheteshwar Pujara's retirement.
Well, 10 minutes before we start recording, I come up with the idea to do Katich's. You disagree. There's not really time for a disagreement, but anyway, we do it. And what we've decided to do
is do a hybrid top 10. And as you said, it's got the precedent of the double-sided EP, the Drunk on the Pope's Blood by the Birthday Party on one side, and the Agony is the Ecstasy by Lydia Lunch on the other side. Both of which
I'm holding the cover up, Gideon, as we speak. There, that is the greatest cover. I think that's the best record cover ever. Drunk on the Pope's Blood. 16 minutes of sheer hell at the venue in November 1981.
And that cover of Loose is just next level, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah. I was having. This is almost. I've got two copies of it and a third the cover with no copy in it. It's 4AD record. So this one's in beautiful condition. I wonder if it's a repressing actually. Zoo Music Girl, King Ink, and Pleasure Heads. Well, Lydia, she does. What does Lydia sing? Do you remember? I don't think I ever really listened to the other side. It's just the Agony is the ecstasy.
It is.
It's a piece.
It is.
It's a performance piece. Excellent. So, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I think you should kick off.
Putting my record away. Hang on.
Yeah, kick off. Give us 5 songs for Kat.
All right. Well, I'll give you one that won't surprise you straight up or alarm you. I'm just going Love Cat by The Cure. It's so obvious.
Okay, right. Sure.
But it's too obvious to ignore.
Yeah, sure.
And if we were doing this together, we both would have ruled it out.
Probably.
Top of the top 10. Yeah. But I'm alone and I had a few minutes to do this. Go on.
Oh, do you want me to go with Cheteshwar Pujara?
I'm going to play my side, then you're going to. Yeah, that makes much more sense.
I don't want to confuse people any more than we absolutely have to.
All right, and I'm doing a bit of genre jumping here, but one of Kevin Bloody Wilson's finest songs was "The Fucking Cat's Back," and I think that was perfect for Simon Katich. You know, tried to drop him from the Test team, but he came back. So, have you ever heard that one?
I don't think I have, Pete. But I'm going to go out and I'm going to do myself a favour.
I'm not going to read you the lyrics because people of a delicate age listen to this. I'm going to go for Hair by the original cast because Simon Katich is one of those forearms are among the most pursued in world cricket. I've heard it that when he takes his trousers off, he still looks like he's got his trousers on. He's just covered in body hair.
Where'd you hear that
may
from?
Or may not be true. His wife.
Okay.
And I did notice when I was looking at the original LP from the musical Hair, that it's got a song called Manchester on it. Do you know that song?
No.
Tie in there with the coach of the Manchester Originals. You're going to have to go and listen. I don't know what. Oh, Hair. What's Hair about? I don't know. Nudity. That's all I remember. It was about nudity.
Hair.
And of course, no top five is complete without a Willie Nelson song. I just can't let you say goodbye, if only for the opening couplet. The flesh around your throat is pale, indented by my fingernails. It's a song in which he has somebody up against the wall with his fingers around their throat. I don't know why that came to mind, but it did. And Done Too Soon by Neil Diamond. Jesus Christ, Fanny Bryce, Wolfie Mozart and Humphrey Bogart. All of these were done too soon. Just like Simon. Yeah.
Well, we're flipping over
so
the 12-inch.
Why are we doing Pujara?
to Cheteshwar? Well, I mean, he's a hugely significant cricketer.
And
we've forgotten how
he's just retired.
I mean, it's. I think he played his last Test match in the WTC final, didn't he, in 2023? So he's been out of circulation, playing first-class cricket for Saurashtra since then. But at 37, he's confirmed that he has called a halt to his career. In all formats, he's not reserving the right to come back as a T20 specialist, and I kind of like that. I favour the total retirement these days. I'm sick and tired of these staged retirements. You know, you're never quite sure of who's available for what, but he's called a halt. He's got an amazing record. He's got an amazing record against Australia, which perhaps
he had
we
some
saw
great
him
series, didn't he?
At his very best. Yeah. Made his debut against Australia, of course. Succeeded Rahul Dravid at number 3. And I think the fact that Australia has that we took our number 3 for granted for a long time, Marnus, and he's struggled over the last 2 years. And when your number 3 is struggling, that causes a kind of a spillover of problems around the rest of the order. So the fact that Pujara was able to maintain a stranglehold on that position for so long and make, over 7,000 test runs at almost 44, mostly at number 3 with 1900s, that was a huge asset of disproportionate value to that Indian team. He was the one who made the whole kind of clockwork mechanism tick. And of course, he did it in that very old-fashioned fashion, completely prioritising red ball cricket to the exclusion of all else. Actually played for 3 IPL franchises, but you'd be forgiven for not knowing that. He played for KKR, RCB and Kings 11. And he was on the CSK list in 2021, but he didn't get a game. So look, he's a great cricketer. He's a cricketer who is a personification of Indian endurance at a time when that was something kind of fundamental to the Indian approach to batting. It had a leavening of defence to go with those personalities like Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli.
It was considered a little sort of controversial there for a little while, wasn't it? There was it right? Am I right in saying that? With I think around that 18-19 period or preceding that he was perhaps considered a player who didn't fit the mould of the modern.
It was felt that he was scoring too slowly. Yes, yes, it was.
But then he comes out and makes those 300s in Australia, which were outstanding and which contributed so much to. On other levels to them.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And despite not being particularly, flamboyant or aggressive or he was always fascinating to watch. You always kind of were intrigued by his ability to kind of earth the electricity round him. There's probably no better example than that 50 he made on the last day at Brisbane. In that game that India won and took out the BGT, and he copped the absolute brunt of the Australian pace attack, and completely prostrated them at the end of that series, which afforded Rishabh Pant the opportunity to take the game away for Australia towards the end. The kind of cricketer who other cricketers appreciate, kind of cricketer who had kind of old-fashioned values in a new-fashioned time and made you appreciate him all the more. So, of course, I'm summing him up with 5 songs. First of them is going to be Stick to Me by Graham Parker and the Rumour. Love Graham Parker. Any opportunity to invoke him. And that's because you always thought of him in terms of partnerships.
Yeah.
You never thought of him as a virtuoso. You always thought of him as sort of supplying the bedrock for others to build on. So it was almost as though he was saying to his partners, stick to me on this sinking sea. We won't drown. Great lines.
Hey, there's a Graham Parker and the Rumours live album for sale down the road. Do you want me to pick it up for you?
Okay.
I've been looking at it for a while.
I've got a few.
You got that?
I do have a pretty extensive Graham Parker collection. Probably got more than I need, but he never gets old. And another great enduring muso, whose song makes me think of Cheteshwar Pujara, the great Ed Cooper. Nothing changes in my house. Did it the same way, day in, day out, stuck to his core processes, his methods. The game changed around him, but Pujara remained a still point.
Good call.
That game in Brisbane, which I mentioned before, where he was tattooed all over the place by Josh Hazlewood and others, reminded me of the Falls' great song "Copped It." Copped it from the wonderful and frightening version of the wonderful and frightening world of the Fall. With Gavin Friday from the Virgin Prunes doing backing vocals. Awesome track, awesome innings, great test match. I Won't Let You Down by OK Go, one of my daughter's favourite bands. Immensely reliable. You could always, even if he was defeated, he was never vanquished, Pujara, and he was always formidable the next time you faced him. And I've got a sneaking fondness for Kildoze's Knuckles the Dog Who Helps People.
I've never heard of that song.
It's just a great song.
Is it?
Yeah. And the way in which the narrator teases out his affinity for Knuckles the dog is actually quite moving. It's one of the more moving new wave songs. So if you haven't heard that, do yourself a favour. But anyway, that's my quick top 5 for Cheteshwar Pujara. What a great player! They don't make them like that anymore.
No,
you look at his inheritors in the Indian top 6. They're much more eye-catching. They're much more aesthetically pleasing. But none, I think, will be quite so resilient, and none probably will dedicate themselves exclusively to red ball outlets in future. He's a superseded model in international cricket, but a great one. And Cricket et al. Salutes you, Cheteshwar Pujara.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all we've got time for on Cricket et al. Great to have you with us. We'll be back again next week. But in the meantime, it's goodbye from me.
And it's good night from him.